Smarty, they don't talk for the matter. So now, court is saying you cannot rely on secondary source. Obi is left with BVAS. Now Jide Ojo, now they talk that one. Say because all the information people bring, where we say they say during the election, they get the result sheets before they upload her, or they see her, they get the result for their own house, they photocopy her. The doctor say you cannot rely on that. They said Peter Obi no fit bring all those things come court. That's what they talk. They say not bring a court. Say you cannot say no secondary source, no secondary matter for the matter. Say 1 year secondary matter. So the only thing Peter Obi they left with now to provide enough evidence to the court, because he tell court say in fee say, saying fee say they not give am the right result, say na him win. So he go be Nigeria president. Say if he not get first-hand information, he say he cannot produce that evidence in court. Yes? Please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like us, share, subscribe. Click on the notification button so you can get all our latest news. Let's get all the details. Now that court has said you cannot rely on secondary source, Obi is left with only BVAS. Jide Ojo reveal. Mr. Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate, has contested the victory of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the tribunal. In his appeal, Peter Obi alleged that there was a case of overvoting in specific region for the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that the court should proclaim him the winner of the election. Jide Ojo, a public affairs analyst and election observer, says now that Supreme Court has ruled on Adeleke case, Peter Obi is only left with the BVAS to decide the case of the overvoting. He stated in an interview with AIT that the Supreme Court has made it plain that the secondary source, the back-end server, cannot be relied on in court and cannot be used, because INEC has said you cannot rely on that anymore. The Supreme Court has ruled in Adeleke's case, and Peter Obi now is left with the BVAS to decide the case of overvoting. He stated this in an interview with AIT News that the Supreme Court has made it plain that a secondary source, the back-end server, cannot be relied on in courts. He stated that the major source, the BVAS, will be used to piece together Peter Obi's case of overvoting against Tinubu. According to him, INEC response in providing the Labour Party with the requisite information will determine how far they can prove the case in court. INEC is not ready to provide anything. Even though court has said INEC has not provided all that Peter Obi has requested from them to prove his case. And now, the court is ordering that in the polling station where you observe the overvoting, there must be an inspection of the BVAS. He said, if that is the case, I'm not sure how many polling location the Labour Party allegedly found this particular presidential election appeal. They will require a court order to inspect that BVAS in order for them to determine overvoting. However, it is no longer about primary or secondary source. Obi is left with nothing other than the BVAS, because the court has stated that you cannot rely on secondary source. Nobody can bring anything for him to use as a source of evidence. So my lovely, wonderful people, this is the new thing going on. This is what is happening, and why again and again, we must understand what our judiciary system is saying. Okay, we must understand it, because honestly, sincerely speaking, we don't really get it. Judiciary at times, it seems like they are speaking for some people. It seems like, they are trying to cover up for some people, and it's very disheartening, to be quite candid. Okay, because you're expecting more, and it doesn't seem very much like we're getting that more. Okay, so it is what it is. And if we want to be totally and sincerely honest, we need to ensure that everything that should be put in place to ensure that these things are done decently and in order is done. Nigerians, na so the matter be. Now, so the matter be, we cannot afford to sit down there and expect that all of a sudden things will fall in place. Things go fall in place if we ready say they go fall in place. We not go just sit down there, they look them, not they prepare. You dey see, and so everybody do they watch the matter. Everybody do they watch the matter. We they look at, we they observe, and we they observe the whole thing. So they try it in every way possible. Both pastor, both everything. I think they talk to Peter Obi say make he stop to the make he not fight the case, make he not fight the case. So this is what is happening. They use every way humanly speaking possible to ensure say Peter Obi not fight this fight, make he leave the matter as he be. So now there we do. Now there we do. We watch am very closely. This election, the whole thing, everything wey dey happen is not a good thing. To be quite candid, it's not a good thing. We want this country to be a better place. We want this country. We don't want, all this nonsense where they happen. So, if Peter Obi do something wrong, they made the court prove him. Nobody say they don't want to say, make the truth, made the truth come aside. Okay, they just the whole things done. They just the whole things done, and it is rather very sad. So court now say if you prove, if you use anything to do evidence. Okay, say you must make sure say now only no secondary evidence, meaning say anything when it come from another place, it must be it must be waiting in gates. It must be really waiting in gates. And that may pretty more be difficult because the evidence is we don't pile up together. Now waiting with the see so. Now part of waiting with the see so. So it is what it is, and if anything will change, if things are going to get better, we need to ensure say we do everything right and correct. Anyway, my lovely, wonderful people, don't forget that you are important and that you have a voice, and that every single one of us must do everything humanly speaking possible to ensure that at the end of the day, Nigeria becomes a better place, not for one alone, but for every single one of us. Yes, don't forget you have a voice. Please don't forget, okay? Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like us, share, subscribe. Have a fantastic and a lovely day. Bye for now.